I always think pubs are a great place to talk about things. Just suddenly, s- you get an idea just pops into the conversation. It might be the beer that loosens your brain up or whatever. But the other night there, I was uh, having a chat about films in the pub, and just suddenly I remembered about in the context of a conversation we were having that about sliding doors, and I thought that's from the 90s, I think, and I always made an impression on me, that film. I liked the idea of it, the kind of quantum concept that was in it of going through one door and you get one reality, and then if you choose to go through another door, you find another reality. And I think the film focused on finding two different people in the one person, and their life if they went through one door. I mean, it maybe seems obvious, but in that film, the quantum aspect of it came out, and it. Uh, uh, it reminded me of another film, but I don't know how it's connected. But The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and it was a film uh, based on a book by James Thurber. That was the original. It was a short story, I think, and it was in the original short story. It was about a man who led a very dull and boring life, and he was out with his wife, and then all of a sudden these sort of dramatic visions came, and it was just his imagination. He was so bored, he made up an alternative reality for himself, in which he was a sort of action hero, and that was the story that film was based on, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and it was a great film. It was about also a man who had a dull life, but he had a great job, but it was just he felt undervalued, and he escaped into these fantasy world, and obviously he had a fancy for a girl that he worked beside, and he kind of dreamed about this relationship we're having, which actually didn't develop. But it wasn't because she wasn't interested. It was just because he went about it in the wrong way. And films, films have always had a bit of impact on me. And another one was I think it was Fish. It was a Monty Python film. It was, I just can't remember what his name was. And it was an interesting film. It was just a series of short stories all linked up. And the there was a great moment in that film where the whole point of the film was brought out. And it was also, it reminded me, the other day there, I was out shopping, and I went to buy some few things, and I didn't bother taking a bag because my house is full of shopping bags, and I try not to buy the plastic ones. So although they're supposed to be, you pay for them now, they seem to have become more plasticky. These plastic bags, which you used to pay 5p or 10p for, but now you have to pay about 20 or 30 because they've upped the grade on them, and they don't look biodegradable at all. So I just kind of try and refuse to buy them. So I was out and it was very hot, and I had a straw hat on, and I thought, I bought the few things, and I was heading towards the bus, and then I remembered something else, so I had to go in, and I ended up buying two things. And by that time, I had too much shopping, and I thought, well, where am I going to put all this? And so I took off my straw hat, and I put all my shopping into it, and I got on the bus. And somebody that I knew was on the bus, a neighbour was on it, and I just looked up and I saw them and I said hello, and they were laughing. And I think at that moment, either they thought I was completely bonkers, or that was the moment they thought I was all right as a person, And because I was sat there with all my shopping inside this hat. And I suppose I said the obvious to them. I said, oh, well, I said, I'm just using my hat as a shopping bag. And they laughed, and I thought, oh, it's all right. And so I don't mind about doing things like that. I can get away with it now. I'll do anything whatever I have to do or use to get me through a situation, I will do it, and I really don't care about, the correctness of it. So, yeah, that was it. The other thing, and going back to the pub, was that I decided I'm going to go to a sea shanty night. And I thought, here I'm going to a sea shanty night. First, it's going to a sea shanty night, and next it'll be a full-blown folk night, and, it's just my rock and roll credibility is under threat here, I think. But it's not that I don't like folk music, because I do like it, and but I've never been one to go and buy folk albums or go to folk concerts or anything like that. Probably avoided them. And but I mean, Bob Dylan was a folk. He started out as a folk person, didn't he? And then he picked up the electric guitar, and he kind of evolved beyond that. But I think his roots were in folk. And there was a lot of folk music in the 60s and 70s. And a lot of the bands who then became, rock bands, started out as folk. I was trying to think on the names of some of the bands. Traffic, I think, they were kind of folky. John Barleycorn was a great track, and that was definitely a folk song. And yeah, that was it. I don't know, Hats. Going back to that, the Monty Python film, The Life of Brian. But it wasn't The Life of Brian, was it? It was definitely, it wasn't A Fish Called Wanda either. It's something else. Can't remember it. Anyway, there was a hat connection in there. So, yeah, this morning I was browsing through things on the X social media. I was looking up a video, and the next minute this pizza app appeared on my screen, and I just couldn't shake it off. I couldn't close it down, and I was trying to wipe it off. You can swipe things off, but it wouldn't swipe away. It just kept sticking up in the top right hand corner, and I thought. I started to panic, because these things have happened to me before. I would say I'm only 85% competent on mobile phone media. There are some things that I do quite well, and other things that I've never really, that like younger people would just flit in and out at speed, and I would not be able to. I'd have to go about it the long way round. And this app, I came out of the social media site, and then it was still there on my screen, and I thought the only way, I tried everything I couldn't, and then the next minute I thought I'm going to have to open it, and I didn't really want to buy pizza, but I opened it up, and then I saw the cross in the top right corner, and I just shut it down, and that was it, gone. And some of these websites, you just click on the wrong thing, this thing alone, and it can be very difficult to close them down sometimes, which is the main thing. They've got so many hooks in them, and it's a wonder I haven't been caught before. by, and had my computers and my mobile completely fried up with, being hacked into. And fortunately it hasn't happened yet, but yeah, that's it. So I think that's about all, really. That was just some follow-up things from, yeah, I've got my pink glasses on. I've got so many sets of sunglasses, but most of these ones with the tints in them, they break quite easily. And so I buy a pair, and then these are rose tinted spectacles. I was thinking about a track, actually, an Elvis Costello track, My Aim Is True, or Aim Is True, I think it was the original name of it. And I was just thinking about that in relation to myself. And I thought, either the target on me is invisible, or and people can't see it, or there must be something else, because I certainly have never been hit. It was a song, wasn't it, by that band from Iceland, and I've been hit, and I certainly have never been hit. So clearly the one who have got a good aim, maybe they didn't have a good aim, maybe they were a bad shot, or the target, as I said, is invisible. But so there I am. I'm still waiting to be shot. And hopefully, being a positive person, it will happen. But Elvis Costello's song has certainly not come to fruition for myself. But I'm forever hopeful. And if not, I just keep on doing what I do. I've got lots of hobbies and keep myself amused. So yeah, I'm going to switch this off now.